We do what we don't like when there's a greater good to be served. You more than anyone should know that.
Those themes, though, of bringing those stories from marginalized communities to the forefront, those themes of justice, is that going to hit audiences a little bit differently, do you think?
Yes and no. I think it'll resonate. The fact, there's a responsibility, I think, to remind. This was done, long before we knew these kind of elements of change were coming at this present time. Possibly one of the greater tragedies is that this has gone on for so long, and that we keep having to remind.
Blessed be the man who will snap this devil's neck.
Likely the people who will be surprised by how resonant it is are white people. We have the luxury of seeing this as resonant as opposed to having lived that forever. It continues to be relevant subject matter.
It was never hunky-dory, so no, it doesn't hit me differently. I think it will hit other people who had certain veils and certain willful ignorances on. I think it might hit them differently, but the world has not changed too terribly much from when we filmed it and when the show aired. It's still a racist world that doesn't care about anybody that's not a straight white Christian male. All we're doing is telling the truth in a way that is very digestible. And just by having a Paul Drake exist as a police officer on your show, that's a step. But even to go home with him is another step. And then to show other people of color and their struggles are huge steps that luckily, we're part of a great team that's intention was that, and we happen to be running along a parallel timeline that the world cares.
Perry Mason, private investigator.
Who knew we would be living through a period that recalled the Great Depression, and we keep on hearing, unemployment hitting levels not seen since the Great Depression, or wages plummeting, or joblessness. It's extraordinarily timely all of a sudden, even since we actually shot it. No one knew this was coming. Placing it an era from many, many decades ago, and yet giving it such a modern sensibility, it just seems like it was written for this moment.
Yeah, we're in a moment in time where we actually have the time to listen in and educate ourselves about things that are happening. And I feel like that's something that the show does all the way through, this quest for the truth against a backdrop of extreme crisis and corruption. And so I think that's something that's going to be really fascinating, sort of moving through the show as we move through these next couple of months, just those parallels.
We really wanted to make it feel like a more visceral world, as opposed to some of the other shows I've worked on. I wanted to make this feel more organic. We thought it would help the story in that it felt lived in. And seeing the world as we sort of calling it from under the fedora. Being with our characters, being with our protagonists as they make their way through the world. You don't have to build out a whole fake thing. You're just sort of feeling this scope on the edge of the frame. And once everybody's dialed in, the background and the hair and makeup and wardrobe, it becomes a beautiful thing to watch unfold on a daily basis.
All they've got is innuendo and circumstance.
Life can be so
We have to go after him!
I feel proud to be part of something that was actually engaging unintentionally just by trying to tell the truth before this became a hot topic or something that was at the forefront of what's going on in the media, brought on by a horrific tragedy,
For me, the glimmer of hope now is that there is this moment of change which we are witnessing, and you hope that it has now longevity and an opportunity to take hold.